I never thought a single day could change everything. One moment, I was just a dad trying to keep my little girl safe after losing my wife. And the next, I was running through fire to save a woman I barely knew. A billionaire whose life was seconds from ending. Every heartbeat became a choice between fear and courage. And every step revealed secrets, betrayals, and a bond one never expected. Watching her survive, seeing our daughters laugh together, I realized that sometimes the people we save end up saving us too. Do you believe in second chances and fate? If yes, like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Daddy, look, that one's going to the clouds. Lily pointed at the runway, her tiny hand smudged against the glass. Her excitement tugged at something inside me. I smiled weakly. Yeah, baby. Straight to the clouds. I didn't tell her the truth, that I hated airports. Too many hellos that turned into goodbyes. Too many memories of my wife's last flight. We sat on a bench near the observation window. The smell of coffee and jet fuel mixing in the air. Lily swung her legs and hummed a tune only she seemed to know. For a while, the sound of her voice was enough to quiet my thoughts. Then I noticed the cameras. Flashes, reporters, and men in black suits. Someone important had arrived. Lily tugged my sleeve. Daddy, who's that lady? She looks like a princess. I followed her gaze. Elena Ward. I'd seen her on TV. Billionaire CEO. Always in headlines. Always perfect. She stood by her car. Tall and composed. Her dark hair pulled into a sleek bun. Even the crowd seemed to part around her, like she didn't belong to the same world as the rest of us. She's someone special, I said quietly. Lily squinted. She looked sad. I frowned. Sad? How can you tell? Her eyes, Lily said simply. Like yours when you miss Mommy. That hit harder than I expected. I looked back at Elena, and for a split second, maybe my daughter was right. Beneath the confidence, there was a flicker of loneliness in her expression. I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck. Come on, Lily. Let's grab a donut before our bus. Tick, tick, tick. I froze. It came from somewhere near the black sedan parked by Elena's guards. A faint, rhythmic sound. Too fast to be a clock. Too wrong to ignore. Daddy? Stay right here, I said, standing up slowly. Where are you going? Just stay by the bench. Don't move. My chest tightened as I stepped closer to the car. The guards were busy talking into earpieces, not paying attention. I could hear the ticking clearer now. My palms went cold. Excuse me. I called out. My voice cracked, but I kept moving. Hey, something's not right. A guard turned sharply. Sir, step back. There's something under the car. I shouted. Sir, step back. I ignored him and pointed toward the rear tire. Listen, you hear that? It's ticking. Elena turned at the sound of my voice. Her eyes locked on me. Confusion, then alarm. Lily's voice pierced the air behind me. Daddy. I spun, panic in my throat. Lily, stay there. Tick, tick, tick. I didn't think. I ran, past the guards, toward Elena. Her eyes widened, her lips parting as if to ask what was happening. Ma'am, please. I yelled, don't go near that car. The guards lunged toward me, shouting. My heart thundered. Every instinct screamed at me to stop her before it was too late. And just as I reached her, the ticking stopped. For a second, the world went still. Then instinct took over. Ma'am, move. I yelled, pushing forward. Strong arms slammed me to the ground. One of her guards pinned my chest with his knee. Sir, step back, he barked. I'm trying to help. I gasped, fighting to breathe. There's something under the car. It's going to. Daddy. Lily's voice sliced through the noise, terrified. Lily, stay back. I shouted, twisting against the guard's grip. Please listen to me. There's a bomb. The guard froze for half a second, eyes darting to the car. Elena turned sharply, confusion on her face. What did he say? She demanded. He's saying there's a... Boom. The ground lifted. The air tore open. I felt fire crawl across my back as I hit the pavement hard. wrapping my arms around Lily. The world turned white, then orange, then black. Her tiny body trembled in my arms. I couldn't hear her crying, just the ringing in my ears, the taste of metal in my mouth. Lily? My voice cracked. Baby, talk to me. I'm scared, Daddy, she whispered, clutching my shirt. I know. You're okay. You're okay, sweetheart. Smoke rolled across the terminal. The smell, fuel, dust, burned fabric, clawed into my lungs. My hands shook as I tried to lift my head. Through the blur, I saw her, Elena Ward, standing beside the shattered car door, her guards dragging her back. Her hair was loose now, face streaked with soot. She looked human, shocked. Her eyes found me. For a long second, we just stared at each other through the chaos. If I hadn't shouted, if I hadn't noticed, she'd be, Sir, we need medics here, one of the guards yelled. I coughed, my throat raw. Is she alive? Elena stepped forward despite the smoke, waving off her guards. You! Her voice trembled. You knew! I heard it ticking. I said. My hands were still shaking. Didn't think. Just. Daddy. Lily whimpered, tugging my sleeve. Are we going to die? I pulled her closer. No, baby. We already lived. Elena's eyes softened. She knelt beside us, ignoring the chaos around. She's brave, she whispered. She got it from her mom, I muttered, and maybe a little from me. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, but sirens wailed in the distance, flashing red lights painting her face. Ma'am, we need to move you, another guard shouted. Elena stood slowly, gaze still locked on me. Get his name, she told her assistant. The woman nodded, typing something into her phone. Elena hesitated, then whispered something, maybe to herself, maybe to me. Find him. Sirens faded days ago, but the noise still lived in my head. Everywhere I went, people stared. Some whispered. Others pointed. Hey, that's him. The single dad who saved the billionaire. I hated it. The word hero felt heavy. Fake. Heroes didn't wake up sweating from nightmares. Heroes didn't freeze at every loud sound. Lily didn't seem to notice. She was too busy showing her stuffed rabbit to the reporters outside our apartment. He's famous now, she giggled. I forced a smile. Only for a little while, sweetheart. Truth was, I just wanted quiet. A normal day. No cameras, no headlines, no reminders of fire. Then a black car stopped in front of our building. Tinted windows. Expensive. Out of place. Lily gasped. Daddy, is that the lady from the airport? Before I could answer, the door opened and Elena Ward stepped out, dressed in a pale gray coat, sunglasses hiding her eyes, but I could tell it was her. The crowd went silent. Even the cameras hesitated. She walked straight toward me. Mister? Cole, I said softly. Just Cole. Her voice lowered. Cole, may I speak with you and your daughter for a moment? Lily clung to my hand. Are we in trouble? I shook my head. No, baby, not this time. Elena smiled faintly, then gestured to the car. I owe you both something more than words. I wanted to say you owe me nothing, but Lily's eyes were wide with curiosity. And maybe I needed to see her again, to know she was real, alive because I'd acted. The ride to her mansion felt unreal. Polished glass, silence, city lights sliding across her face. She didn't talk much, neither did I. Just the hum of the car and Lily's soft humming. When the gates opened, I caught my breath. The place looked like something out of a dream. Tall, silver, perfect. But it felt cold. Inside, everything echoed. Marble floors, spotless walls. No laughter, no warmth. Just money and emptiness. Wow, Lily whispered. Do you live here all by yourself? Elena hesitated. Not entirely. My daughter is home. As if on cue, a small voice spoke from the hallway. Mama? A little girl stood there, frail, pale, with big brown eyes that seemed older than her age. She hid half behind the wall. Elena softened instantly. Ava, sweetheart. Come say hello. Ava stepped closer. You're the man who saved my mom? I nodded, Awkward. Guess I just got lucky. Lily grinned. I'm Lily. I like your dress. Ava blushed. I like your bunny. Within seconds, the two of them sat on the floor, whispering secrets like they'd known each other forever. Elena watched them quietly, then turned to me. She hasn't smiled like that in months. Kids are magic that way. I said, they fix things we don't even see breaking. She gave a small, tired laugh. You're different, Cole. I'm just a dad trying to keep up. I replied. She looked at me for a moment, long enough that I saw the exhaustion behind her eyes, the weight she carried alone. Stay for dinner, she said suddenly. It's the least I can do. I don't. Please, she cut in gentle but firm. I insist. I hesitated. Then Lily looked up from the floor, eyes bright. Can we, Daddy? Please. I sighed. All right, just dinner. Elena smiled, not the billionaire smile from TV, but something smaller. Real. I didn't know it then, but that dinner would change everything. Dinner at her mansion didn't feel real. The table was long enough for 10 people, but only 4 of us sat there. Elena, Ava, Lily, and me. The silverware gleamed, the chandelier hummed, but the silence felt heavier than the air. Lily nudged me. Daddy, why don't they talk when they eat? I whispered. Maybe they forgot how? Elena glanced up, catching my words, and for a second, I thought she might actually laugh. But instead, she set her fork down and said softly, I didn't forget. I just don't have many people left to talk to. Her honesty disarmed me. There was something raw in her tone, something that didn't match the polished marble around us. I cleared my throat. Well, you got 2 very talkative guests tonight. Lily beamed. Especially me. Ava giggled. The first real laugh I'd heard from her all evening. Elena's eyes softened instantly. That one sound seemed to lift a weight off her shoulders. After dinner, she led me to her study. The room smelled of cedar and faint perfume. Cole, she said, folding her arms, I want to offer you something. I tensed. If this is about money. It's not. She shook her head. It's about trust. I frowned. Trust. Her eyes met mine, steady, unreadable. I want you to protect my daughter. Be her personal guard. She trusts you. Ava hasn't looked at anyone that way in years. I blinked. Me? I'm a mechanic. I fix engines, not people. She stepped closer. You saved my life and hers. That's more than my guards did. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to walk out. This world wasn't mine. Suits, marble, bodyguards that belonged to her, not me. But then I heard laughter, Lily and Ava's laughter, echoing down the hall. Lily's voice carried, bright and pure. Ava, you're my best friend already. Ava replied, Really? Even though I don't talk much. Especially because you don't, Lily said proudly. I couldn't stop the smile creeping onto my face. Elena noticed. She's different with your daughter. Yeah, I murmured. Lily has that effect. She finds light in dark places. And you? She asked. I just try to keep up. She looked at me, something unreadable in her gaze, part admiration, part fear. Ava needs someone steady, someone who isn't afraid. I sighed, rubbing my neck. I'm afraid all the time. I just don't show it when she's watching. That made her pause. Her eyes softened, but her voice stayed firm. That's exactly why I want you. I looked down at my hands, calloused, rough, stained with oil. They didn't belong in a place like this. But when I thought of Lily and Ava, side by side, I knew what my answer had to be. Fine, I said quietly. I'll do it. Not for money. Not for you. For them. Elena nodded slowly. For them, then. As I walked out of the study, Lily ran up and hugged my leg. Daddy, Ava says we can play again tomorrow. Yeah, I whispered, stroking her hair. I think we will. That night, as we got ready to leave, Elena followed me to the door. Her tone dropped, softer now, almost a warning. Cole, she said, you've entered a dangerous world now. Be careful who you trust. Her words echoed long after we left her gates. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't sure if I was protecting them or if they were protecting me. I didn't sleep much that night. Even when I finally closed my eyes, I kept hearing every sound. Footsteps in the hallway, distant whispers through the vents, the hum of the mansion's generators. By morning, I told myself I was imagining things. But as I walked Lily to the playroom where Ava waited, I noticed something. A camera above the hallway door. Red light off. "Daddy," Lily whispered, holding my hand. "Why isn't that little red light blinking?" I looked closer. "Good question, kiddo. Maybe it's broken." When we reached the playroom, Ava smiled weakly from the couch. "Lily brought her drawings again," she said softly. Lily giggled. "We're making princess mechanics." I smiled at the two of them, their laughter, their little world of crayons and paper. For a second, it felt normal. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I declined it, but my gut twisted. Later that afternoon, I found Elena on the terrace, staring at the driveway. The air smelled like rain. "You ever get the feeling," I said, "that someone's watching us?" She didn't turn around. "Because someone is..." That answer froze me. "What do you mean?" Elena exhaled slowly. The explosion at the airport wasn't random. It was meant for me. My security team confirmed it this morning. I swallowed hard. "So someone tried to kill you." Her voice shook for the first time since I'd met her. "They wanted my company, and when I refused to sell, threats started." I looked toward the gate. A black SUV sat idling across the street, windows tinted. "You think that's them?" "Maybe," she whispered. "Or maybe I've just started seeing ghosts." The wind caught her hair, and for the first time, I saw it. The fear she'd been hiding behind her calm. I said quietly, "You don't have to act strong all the time." She looked at me, eyes tired. "If I stop acting, I'll fall apart." I stepped closer, then fall apart. Just not alone. Silence. Then she smiled, not the billionaire smile from magazines, but something small, human. "You talk like someone who's lost a lot." "I have." My voice was rough, but I'm still here. Guess that counts for something. We talked for hours. About her daughter, my wife, the weight of pretending to be fine. Somewhere between her honesty and my silence, the space between us felt less cold. When I finally stood to leave, she touched my arm lightly. "Thank you," she said, "for not treating me like I'm made of glass." I managed a faint smile. "You're not. You're made of fire. Just need someone to make sure it doesn't burn you." I walked back toward the playroom, where laughter echoed again. For a moment, the mansion didn't feel haunted. It felt alive. Then Lily's voice cut through, sharp and panicked. "Daddy, something's wrong with Ava." I ran. Ava was on the floor, pale, trembling, eyes half closed. Elena's heels clattered behind me as she screamed her daughter's name. I dropped to my knees, lifting Ava carefully. "Breathe, kiddo, come on, breathe." Elena's hands shook. She wasn't sick this morning. "What's happening?" I met her eyes. "Stay with me, Elena. Don't lose her." And in that moment, as the storm raged outside, I realized she wasn't the only one being hunted by shadows. Ava's pulse steadied hours after the doctors arrived. I didn't let go of her hand the entire time. Elena stood beside me, motionless, staring at her daughter like she was trying to memorize every breath. When the nurse finally said, "She's stable," I felt my knees weaken. Elena whispered, "Thank God," and then quietly, "Thank you." I shook my head. I didn't do anything. "You stayed," she said. "Everyone else panics. You stay." The hospital room hummed with low monitors. Lily had fallen asleep in the corner chair, holding one of Ava's dolls. I pulled a blanket over her. Elena watched me. "You're good with kids." "I just try not to break what's left of them," I murmured. She gave a faint smile. "You say things like that, like someone who's been broken himself." I hesitated. I didn't like talking about it. But in that sterile room, surrounded by beeping machines and quiet breathing, it felt wrong to keep pretending. "My wife," I finally said, "car accident. Lily was 2. I was supposed to drive that night." She offered instead. Said I looked tired. Elena lowered her eyes. I'm sorry. It's okay, I said. You stop asking why after a while. You just keep fixing what you can. She nodded slowly. You fix cars. You fix people. Maybe that's what you do. I laughed quietly. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's not. She leaned against the wall, her arms folded loosely. I used to think money fixed things. Turns out it just hides the cracks. I looked at her, really looked at her. The world saw a billionaire, a symbol of success. But right then, she looked like any mother terrified of losing her child. She glanced at Ava and said softly, My husband left when Ava got sick. He said I'd changed, too cold, too driven. Maybe I did, but what choice did I have? When everyone's waiting for you to fall, you learn to stop depending on anyone. Her voice broke a little at the end. I said, Then maybe you just needed someone who didn't want anything from you. She turned to me, searching my face. And what do you want, Cole? I shrugged. For my daughter to laugh again. For the night to be quiet. That's enough. A small laugh escaped her, barely there. You're strange, you know that? Yeah, I said, smiling. Lily says the same thing. Elena pulled a chair closer, sitting beside Ava's bed. You remind me what normal feels like. We stayed like that for hours. Two broken parents guarding their sleeping kids, trading stories in half-whispers. Somewhere between her confession and my silence, something lighter filled the space. At one point, Lily stirred and mumbled, Daddy, she's gonna be okay, right? I brushed her hair back. Yeah, kiddo. She's strong. Just like her mom. Elena met my eyes. For once, there was no armor there, just warmth. When dawn crept to the blinds, Ava opened her eyes, smiled faintly at Lily, and whispered, Did we win? Lily grinned through tears. Yeah, we did. For the first time in years, I laughed. So, did Elena. And for a few fragile moments, the world didn't feel broken anymore. Then Elena's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and all the color drained from her face. I leaned forward. What is it? She handed me the phone, one message glowing across the display. Next time, you won't survive. My stomach dropped. And just like that, the peace we'd built vanished into fear again. Neither of us slept that night. By morning, the house felt colder, quieter, like it already knew something bad was coming. Elena was in her office, trying to sound calm as she called her team. I stayed close to the girls. Lily and Ava were playing in the garden, their laughter breaking to the tension for brief, beautiful seconds. But my gut wouldn't settle. Something was off. I headed down the hallway toward the security room, or what was supposed to be the security room. The door was open. No guards. The monitors were still. Black screens where there should have been movement. Then I heard it. A voice. Muffled, low, coming from the corner. Yes. She's still here. No, she doesn't suspect a thing. It was Marcus, Elena's aide, the guy who always smiled too much. I froze, listening. Yes, the files are in her safe. Once she signs a merger, she'll be out of the picture. Completely. My pulse spiked. I stepped back too fast. The floor creaked. Marcus spun around, phone still in hand. Cole, what are you doing here? I forced a laugh, looking for the restroom. He smirked, cold and nervous. You took a wrong turn. Guess I did, I said, and walked off, but my hand was already shaking. I found Elena in the study, her voice sharp on a call. No, I don't care about the numbers. Just find out who sent that message. Elena, I interrupted. You need to hear this. Marcus, he's... The words never finished. The first shot shattered the window. I hit the floor, dragging Elena down with me. Glass exploded everywhere. Lily, I yelled. I've got them, a guard shouted. But before he could move, another bullet hit the doorframe. Basement. I yelled. Now! Elena, and I ran for the hallway. Lily's scream cut through my chest. I scooped her up, grabbed Ava's hand, and we sprinted down the stairs. My heart was pounding so loud it drowned everything else. Daddy, what's happening? Lily cried. Just hold on to me, baby. Don't let go. We reached the basement, cold, damp, filled with old crates. I pushed them behind a stack of boxes, then turned back to lock the door. That's when I saw it. Blood. A thin red line across Elena's arm. Elena, I'm fine, she said, breathless. It's nothing. It's not nothing, I snapped. I tore a strip from my shirt and pressed it against the wound. She winced. You didn't have to do that. Yeah, I did. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. You could have died. For a second, everything went quiet. No gunfire, no noise. Just her breathing, close enough to feel. She looked up at me, eyes glimmering even in the dark. Why do you care so much? I met her gaze. Because you're not alone anymore. Her lips parted, like she wanted to say something. But before she could, footsteps echoed above us. Stay here, I whispered. Cole, don't. I'll keep them safe, I said. I promise. She nodded, her voice trembling. If we make it out of this, I'm done running. I'll find who did this, even if it kills me. I looked at her, strong, bleeding, terrified, and all I could think was how much I couldn't lose her too. Elena's words kept ringing in my ears. I'll find who did this, even if it kills me. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes, the gunfire, the blood on her arm, the look in her eyes when she said she wasn't afraid. But I was terrified. Lily was curled up next to me on the couch, her small hand gripping mine even in sleep. The mansion was silent again, too silent. That's what scared me most. At dawn, I heard footsteps upstairs, a door closing, the low hum of an engine starting. I bolted upright. Elena? No answer. I ran to the hallway. Her study door was open, empty, paper scattered on the desk. Her phone gone. Lily rubbed her eyes. Daddy? What's wrong? She's gone, I said, half to myself. Gone where? I stared at the note left on the desk. One line scrawled in a hurry. I have to end this before it reaches the girls. I crushed the paper in my hand. No, not like this. Lily frowned. Are we going after her? I looked at her, my little girl, still brave after everything. Yeah, I said. We're going. I grabbed the truck keys, threw on my jacket, and we drove. The highway lights blurred through the windshield, and my chest ached with every mile. My mind kept replaying that night at the airport, the explosion, the screams, the fire. The same nightmare that woke me up sweating for weeks. Only now, it felt like more than a dream. It felt like a warning. Lily looked at me. Daddy, you're squeezing the steering wheel too hard. I forced a smile. Sorry, kiddo. Just thinking. About her? Yeah. She was quiet for a moment. You like her, don't you? I almost laughed. It's not that simple. Nothing ever is, she said, sounding too old for her age. When the airport lights came into view, my heart nearly stopped. A private hangar, a small jet on the runway, engines warming up, and there she was, walking across the tarmac in that same black coat, hair blowing in the wind, back straight like she wasn't walking into danger. Elena! I yelled, jumping out of the truck. My voice disappeared into the roar of the engines. She didn't turn. I ran, clutching Lily's hand, dodging guards who shouted for us to stop. Elena, don't board that plane. The ticking sound hit me before I even reached her. Faint but familiar, my chest tightened. I'd heard that sound before. No, not again. Elena! I screamed, my throat raw. Don't board that plane. It's going to explode. She froze mid-step, just as the engines flared in the night filled with a single deadly sound. The click before chaos. My heart pounded against my ribs. Lily buried her face in my chest. And in that split second, I realized fate had brought me full circle. I'd stopped one explosion before, but this time, the person I couldn't lose was walking straight toward it. I didn't think. I just moved. The moment I heard that metallic click, I grabbed Lily, slammed us both to the ground, and wrapped myself over her like a shield. Daddy! She screamed as the world split open. The explosion tore through the night like thunder. Fire swallowing the jet, metal shrieking as it ripped apart. The shock wave hit us a second later, a wall of heat and pressure that sent gravel flying into my back. My lungs burned, my ears rang. For a moment, everything went silent. I could only hear Lily's muffled sobs under me. "I'm okay, sweetheart," I gasped, pulling her close. "You're safe. You're safe." I lifted my head. Through the haze and the rain of debris, I saw her, Elena, lying a few yards away, blood streaking down her temple, her black coat torn and burning at the edge. "Elena!" I stumbled forward, my knees shaking, my throat raw from smoke. "Stay with me?" She groaned, eyes fluttering open. "You yelled?" "Yeah," I said, dropping beside her. "Lucky for you, I'm loud." She gave a faint, broken laugh before coughing hard. I pressed my jacket against the cut on her arm, trying to stop the bleeding. "Don't move," I told her. "Help's coming." Her hand trembled as she reached for mine. My pilot." I shook my head. "He didn't make it." Tears slipped from the corners of her eyes. He wasn't supposed to." Behind us, sirens started wailing. Security trucks, fire engines, police lights flashing red and blue through the smoke. But all I could see was her. Her, still breathing. Her, alive because I'd made it in time. Elena looked at me, really looked. "You could have run." "I don't run from family," I said before I could stop myself. She blinked, as if the word family meant something new now. A shout broke the moment. "Ma'am, sir, we've got him." One of the guards dragged a man toward us. Elena's aide, the one I'd overheard on the phone. His face twisted in panic. "I didn't mean," he stammered. Elena's voice came out low and steady. "You tried to kill me." He looked from her to me, to the wreckage behind us, and dropped his head. "They paid me," her rival company. "Save it," I said, stepping between him and her. I didn't even realize my hands were shaking until I saw them. Lily ran up then, eyes wide. "Daddy, she's bleeding." "I know, baby," I said softly, "but she's going to be okay." Elena turned her gaze to Lily and smiled through the pain. "You have a brave father." I swallowed hard. She has a reason to be. The medics pushed in, voices sharp, pulling her onto a stretcher. As they lifted her, she gripped my hand, refusing to let go. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You saved my daughter and me." I couldn't speak. I just squeezed her hand until they took her away, the smoke curling between us like a memory that would never fade. As the sirens faded into the night, I held Lily close and looked at the burning wreckage. I'd come to this house to protect someone else's family. But tonight, somewhere between fire and fear, ours had become one. The ocean has a way of softening everything. The waves move slow, steady, almost like breathing. Months have passed since the explosion, but sometimes when the wind shifts, I still smell the smoke. It fades quickly now, like a bad dream losing its hold. Lily and Ava are chasing each other barefoot along the sand, laughing so hard they can barely run straight. Their laughter carries across the waves, brighter than sunlight. Elena sits beside me on the wooden bench, a scarf wrapped loosely around her neck. She's not the same woman I met that day at the airport, not the ice-cold billionaire with armor in her eyes. She's softer now, still strong, but in a way that feels human. Lily's faster, I say, watching them sprint. Elena smiles. Ava will find a way to win anyway. She always does. I chuckle. She takes after her mom. She turns to look at me, and Lily takes after her dad. Brave, stubborn, too kind for his own good. I shrug, pretending I don't feel the warmth in her words. I just fix what's broken. That's all I've ever known. Her gaze lingers on the horizon. You didn't just fix things, you rebuilt lives. I stay quiet for a moment, letting the sound of the waves fill the silence. Some days I still wake up expecting to hear my late wife's voice, the sound of her humming in the kitchen, the creak of her chair by the window. But those mornings don't hurt as much now. Maybe healing doesn't mean forgetting. Maybe it just means learning how to breathe again. Do you ever think about it? I ask. Elena tilts her head. About what? That night, the fire, how close it was. Her lips part, and for a second, I see the flicker of that same fear before it fades. Every day, she says softly, but not with regret anymore. You made sure of that. I exhale, feeling something lift off my chest that I didn't know I was still carrying. She looks down, brushing sand from her hand. You know, I used to think power could keep me safe, that money could make the world behave. And now, I ask, now, she says, turning toward me, I know it's people. It's love. She pauses, smiling. It's moments like this. The sun dips lower, gold stretching across the water like liquid fire. Lily runs up, breathless. Daddy, can we stay till it's dark? I smile and ruffle her hair. As long as you promise not to chase the crabs this time. She giggles and runs back to Ava. Elena watches her, then whispers, You never just saved my life. You reminded me how to live. Her words hit me deeper than she knows. For the first time in years, I let myself believe her. I glance at the girls, at the waves, at the woman beside me, all pieces of a world I never expected to have again. The wind carries a sound, not fire, not fear, just the rhythm of the tide. And somewhere in that rhythm, I hear what I thought I'd lost forever. Peace. Maybe second chances don't come from miracles. Maybe they come from people who refuse to stop believing they still deserve one. As the last light fades across the ocean, I take a deep breath and finally let go of the past.